Good day. Welcome to State of the Matters. Today we'll bring you the latest breaking news across Nigeria, from urgent update to insightful analysis. We'll guide you through the stories that matters. Now let's get started. Supreme Court saves Mark-led ADC as PDP loses stand. Legal win for ADC is not final victory, says Atiku. I am Cassie Tony, and we'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Joining us now to break down these headlines is Ugochukwu Ifeanyi. Good to have you join us, Ugochukwu.
Yeah, Cassie, good to be with you on set on the day called Workers' Day, which is Labour's Day all over the world, and Nigeria being a country where our workforce is also not negligible, so to say, because in Nigeria, I think the government is still the most employer of labor, but other countries is not like that. That's why we are suffering a lot of things in Nigeria. So it's good to be on set today to celebrate the Nigerian workers, their doggedness, their resilience, and also wishing you a happy Workers' Day, because today you should be somewhere, enjoying yourself, one of the amusement parks. But here we are, because of the exigency and the essential nature of your job. You're here, keeping Nigerians and our viewers all over the globe abreast with what is happening. This is our table of truth, the segment where we use the oil to eat the yam of politics.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Ugochukwu. Talking about using the oil to eat the yam of politics.
Yes.
Now let's dive into the real politics. So we noticed that over the few months ago, ADC and PDP has been having a lot of crises, which actually led to courts to actually stop the activities that was happening within the ADC party, and
Yes.
INEC as well, removing the name of David Mark and Arekpeshola as the national chairman and secretary of the ADC. Now, the Supreme Court, according to their rulings yesterday, has saved David Mark. They've asked David Mark and his people to go to the Federal High Court, and they've given their rulings, their final rulings on the matter, and as well also asked them, INEC, to recognize them, which earlier today INEC has updated the portal again, recognizing Mark-led faction. We could recall that it was on the 1st of April Fool, that INEC removed Arekpeshola's and David Mark's.
Recognized them.
Yes, they recognized them, and
Yes.
still on the 1st as well, they recognized them. Again, that's an irony.
Re-recognition.
Yes, that's an irony. So what does the Supreme Court's decision mean for the leadership crisis and stability within the ADC going forward?
Cassie, I just pray that my memories and words will not elude me to be able to, put this in proper perspective where an average Nigerian will understand it, because this ADC crisis is multidimensional. Multidimensional in the sense that some of their crises are self-inflicted. Like I've said here before, that David Mark and Atiku acted in a haste.
Okay.
And Raf Musu, whose tenure even had expired, because if you go by what Dumebika Chukwu posited and the court judgment that they have, the leadership, there's a lot of crisis already, in ADC. Let's not only look at the decision of the Supreme Court, but we are starting from there to move to the deeper sense of what the crisis looks like going forward. The Atiku and David Mark, Arekpeshola, they acted in a haste without due diligence. And Ralph Umosu, who was overwhelmed and in the euphoria of these big political bigwigs, maybe he has not sat on the same seat side by side with them. So he was overwhelmed by their presence and their interest in his political party, that only produced only one House of Representative member. And you're not seeing these political bourgeois, so to say, in Nigeria, coming to interface with you in order to come into your political party. So they did not do due diligence by carrying some of the state executives, along. They only thought they were dealing with Ralph Nwosu, who is the owner or the founder of the party. But once you float an ideology, it's no longer yours, and is registered in the CAC and also with INEC. So it is no longer your personal property. But they made that mistake. So when they made that mistake, some people, had to raise alarm in the person of Rafiu Bala Gombe and Dumebi Kachukwu. So fast forward to litigations that came up on the 2nd of September 2025, before the inauguration of David Mark on 9th of September. So the case has already been suited in the lower court, the trial court, that's the Federal High Court. And they went ahead because INEC under Mahmoud Yakubu was with them, following out what they are doing. So they relaxed. They still went ahead. The first caution of overlooking a case instituted in a court of competent jurisdiction. That was the first red line that David Mark, Atiku, and Ralph Nwosu ignored that particular and said that their members in the NWC are resigned. But somebody went to court and decided the court. You overlooked it, and they went ahead to inaugurate Rauf Aregbesola and David Mark. That was the first signal. So when this issue continued, Rafiu Bala now went ahead with his case, which was Rafiu Bala went ahead. And fast forward to when the case, exploded. David Mark, instead of challenging or waiting for the court to hear that particular case, went to appeal court to challenge what? A case that have not been heard, according to what the Supreme Court said. The case have not been heard, no judgment have been passed, and you're now appealing what? That means you cannot stand something on nothing and expect it to stand. That's exactly what they went to challenge. What? So INEC now de-recognize them, acting also in a haste, without proper, scrutiny, without following the due process of even trying to interpret very well what the status quo antebellum means. They now acted on their own. So you could see the confusion everywhere. So the Supreme Court has set everything right. There is no judgment. They only agreed that the issue that status quo antebellum, which is coming from the appeal court, which led David Mark to run to the Supreme Court for cover. Supreme Court now said even the status quo antebellum had no locus. The case in the trial court have not been heard. So which judgment are you challenging? You are challenging nothing. That means you're acting in a haste. You're acting on suspicion. And the court does not deal on suspicion. It's empirical evidence. The empirical evidence was not there for even David Mark or the person that went to appeal court to have gone to appeal court to say, they recognize David Mark. So a lot of the thing is shrouded in secrecy and in controversy. But we are back to status quo, which the Supreme Court have said go to the trial court. So it is not Uhuru for ADC. It is even now that they should be looking for an alternative, because if the cases are coming from the trial court, you know how it grinds. It is not a special court. It is not a tribunal. So those judges that those cases are before their temple, they still have other cases and they will take their time to hear it. So all the three parties, INEC, the David Mark-led faction of the ADC, and the Nafiu. But Nafiu Bala can even be excused. Who took the initiative? He didn't go to court after the INEC has recognized Mark. He instituted his case before that final recognition. So INEC and David Mark, Atiku, and all the coalition, they acted in confusion and in a haste in order for them to hijack that political party, and that is why they are going to pay the price. At the end of the day, I told you that Atiku began this move when he pulled down the roof and all the pillars holding PDP, and today he will also be the person that will lead ADC led by David Mark to doom.
Talking about leading them to doom, but the INEC has recognized them. The INEC has updated their name in the portal. So which doom is Atiku leading them to?
You see, recognizing them is that INEC is acknowledging that they made a mistake in the interpretation of the pronouncement of the appeal court, which said maintain status quo antebellum. Antebellum, they understood, is before the fight. But what led to Nafiu Bala going to court is this: he's challenging the taking over of the party. But INEC, which is an institution, had already followed the process, acknowledged the process that led to David Mark and the rebel shall emerging, which they have recognized them and they impute their names in their portal. So Supreme Court now said, go back, that even appeal court had no locus to have even made such a statement. So where we are is restoring the name of David Mark, which is what Nafiu Bala is challenging. Nafiu Bala is still in court. His case and his prayers in the Federal High Court is still potent and alive. It's still very potent and alive. And what comes out of it is what we don't know. Whether, if that is coming, you cannot say that it is a win-win for the David Mark-led faction, because now you don't know that you can't preempt the minds of the court. And you don't know those who are blowing the piper for Nafiu Bala, who are in charge of the courts, what they are going to say at the end of the day. So it's going to be what it leaves David Mark and Atiku or the coalition group is that there's a lot of litigation coming, that this vehicle cannot move. The ADC vehicle is not healthy to take them to the destination, because Cassie, they will, after the trial court, there will be appeal, and it will also get to the Supreme Court. Which time do they have? That is why I said it's a danger.
Thank you so much, Ugochukwu. Let's talk about clarity.
Yes.
In this scenario, the Mark-led faction has been legally recognized, while the Turaki faction under PDP has not. You know, they had their convention in Ibadan in November 2025. I'm talking about the PDP,
yes,
which was led by Taminu Turaki, and in the Supreme Court ruling, they nullify that convention, and the only faction that is being recognized is the one under Wike, the one under Nyeso Wike. So this ruling, does it deepen political uncertainty ahead of 2027?
It's for me, it's a clear statement and the testament that you don't take the words that emanate from Temple of Justice for granted. You know, it deepens our democracy in a positive way. Because you cannot, if the government in power is not obeying court orders, I, as an ordinary citizen, has no locus, because the government is with the security apparatus that enforces the law. So they can send the security agencies against anybody they wish. The el-rufai is a case in study. You understand? So you wouldn't say el-rufai was so free that very day to speak at the airport because they couldn't grab him. But at the end of the day, he's cooling off somewhere. So in Nigeria, the freedom of speech, your freedom of speech is guaranteed, as I'm seated here, you and I. But the freedom after the speech is what might not be guaranteed, Cassie. So that is a Nigeria where we are not even making use of all the arts that we have about the freedom and those empowering the journalists to carry out their functions, So Nyesom Wike is the Maradona of the Nigerian politics. He is very sagacious, is 5 steps ahead of his opponents. He knew where he was headed to. And the Turaki and Damagu recall that it is Damagu that handed over to the Turaki-led faction that conducted the convention at Ibadan, which we sat here and I told you that if you ask me, the authentic PDP is that, and that those factions that Damagu handed over, because under Damagu there were only one PDP. He was the acting chairman of PDP, and the Wike was gathering cement and mixing them with concrete and heaping them around Damagu and the Anyanwu. I don't know how they fell out. This is the beauty of politics. You might be lying down on the same bed with somebody. The person wakes up in the morning and says, "Oh, I don't like your face again." Or perhaps the aroma of your perfume is disturbing is irritating my confidence.
Like a pregnant woman.
Yes, the person leaves. So, Cassie, you now understand the beauty of politics. So, fast forward to when Damagu and Wike fell out. This Wike quickly formed the BOT. When I knew Wike was very serious, I've not seen any of the factions that even formed the BOT. He formed the faction of National Working Committee, the Executive Committee, and BOT, headed by Senator Mahu Ohabonwa. So you find out that this man knew already what the grounds are. So what the decision of the Supreme Court on PDP crisis is the finality, because Turaki and Damagu-led faction shot themselves on the foot. You don't ask the court to give you what you didn't pray. When the court of competent jurisdiction said, do not continue with this exercise, no matter how frivolous, no matter how stupid, no matter how common sense that a court order is, you have to obey it. You have to obey it.
Sorry to interject you on at this point.
Yes.
This turnout of events, does it strengthen ADC's political relevance while destabilizing PDP?
No, it has repositioned PDP as a main opposition political party. Take it or leave it. Even in Rivers State, we are getting feelers from the grapevine that Wike is about to reclaim the members of the State House Assembly. You know how Nigerian politicians change political party as if they are changing rapper. They can be in party A today, tomorrow they are in party B. So anything, but hence the dark cloud is now hovering over ADC. Labour Party has freed themselves by electing Nana de Usman, Esther, as their national chairman. Nobody is now quarreling with Labour Party, because Labour Party, if you ask me, has become a toothless bulldog. Even the vice presidential candidate has left for PRP. So I don't know who is there. That's why nobody is talking about them. So now, you also hear about PRP being the next destination, and the factions have already emerged. So, where are we going? So, it only leaves PDP, who, in my view, as far as Wike is supporting Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not going to present a presidential candidate that will match Tinubu toe-to-toe. but they can field some governorship candidates in other places where they know they have comparative advantage. But the ruling of Supreme Court yesterday has defined who the major opposition political party is. Let ADC go and lick their wounds and find alternative. I'm advising them for free. They are not, because Cassie, how do you look at it with the little time that they have? Because the election timetable has kicked off. People have been purchasing their forms. Anybody who is going to purchase form in ADC, what will be the person's fate at the end of the day? But if you purchase, when your friend, about you, what's her name now, Natasha, went to, declare her interest and revalidate her dissent in PDP, I was thinking, this woman, does she know what he was doing? And she aligned with Nyesom Wike, having known that the other people, the denominators of this world had left. So PDP has reclaimed their rightful place, and the Nyesom Wike is not going to give PDP that needed vibe to contest against APC. Recall that in Rivers State, he has what they call Rainbow Coalition. Rainbow Coalition is that PDP and APC are sleeping on the same bed.
Yeah.
You understand? So, but I know that he might be angry to produce Rivers State governor under PDP. So PDP has come to stay. No faction in PDP again. Bala Mohammed and Sheima Kinde should go and lick their wounds. And he who fights and runs live to fight again. Perhaps their greatest undoing today is that even the ADC they are coaliting with is neither here nor there. So I don't know what their political future looks like.
Thank you so much, Ugochukwu, for that analysis. Still in politics.
Yes.
Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, says legal win for ADC is not final victory. Do legal victories alone build a strong political opposition, or is it grassroots mobilization that is more important?
No, Atiku have said something that that is really apt in my view, because he is a seasoned politician, and this particular Supreme Court pronouncement about the leadership of ADC is a keg of gunpowder. You can't say this is a judgment. They have only said that the case you brought to us, it is on advisory note. Go back and let the court. Why are you afraid? Allow the trial court to hear. All the three courts now are involved. The three arms of court, Federal High Court, Appeal Court is the one, and then Supreme Court. So, and recall that Atiku have seen it, just what I said a few moments ago, that the litigation surrounding ADC will now start from the trial court, the first court of instance, and it will run till those who are playing the piper for Nafiu Bala, we continue to aid him to get to the Supreme Court. And that the time essence is what ADC and Atiku don't have now. So Atiku understands the game, understands the letters of this pronouncement clearly, that this is neither win. It's only Nyesom Wike that can go home today and sleep with his two eyes closed. Moving his two legs up and down in euphoria that he has. Nyesom Wike has nothing to worry about. And those who are calling him the national leader of PDP did not make a mistake. Recall that when he had a problem with his governor, his successor, he assured the assembly members that nothing will happen. At the end of the day, nothing happened. So all those who had followed Nyesom Wike's faction, today they are the driver's seat. But recall that there is also a news hanging on Nyesom Wike and Anyanwu. Because you recall that Justice Lifo had given a judgment, sustaining the expulsion letter that Damagu, Bala Mohammed, and Sheima Kinde give to Nyesom Wike, which they are also going to challenge. Because if you look at it now, PDP seems not to be just exactly what is happening in ADC. ADC, INEC has restored the name of David Mark and Arabeshala at the portal. Is it the final answer? Like when they were doing one program on national television, they say, is it a final answer? This article understood that this is not the final answer to the yearnings of what ADC wants. And I repeat again, they should look for another alternative vehicle that is ready to move. But if it's this one, Cassie, their names will not be on the ballot. I make it as a political prophecy, and you will live to see it. 2027 is here. 16th of January, the elections are on us. So PDP, APC, Mr. President has collected his expression of interest form and his form. The person he's anointed in Lagos State have collected. Tony Cole in River State have collected his own. So people are buying form. Who is buying form in ADC? Anybody that is buying form there is committing what they call political suicide. So the Atiku understands this, and I know as the master chess game, he's plotting his graph here and there. In the coming weeks, in a week or two, you will see a political statement and announcement that will shock all Nigerians from P2B and Atiku. And you know how Atiku has carried this particular coalition. I bet you that P2B and Amechi might not be on the same political party with him, because APC has succeeded in balkanizing the ADC for their good.
All right, thank you, Ugochukwu. Talking about plotting, how critical are court rulings compared to grassroots mobilization in sustaining democracy across developing nations?
If you are a political actor, Cassie, you shouldn't be carrying yourself based on the position you have occupied. When you have left the office, you are prone to being vulnerable. So Atiku and his co-travelers in ADC thought that they still have power. They didn't have the power. So PDP on their own, led by Damagu, Sheima Kinde and Bala, thought that as governors they have all the clout in the world, not knowing that the commander-in-chief is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I don't know whether you heard the story of how the security details of Chris Ngige was withdrawn when he was the governor of Anambra State. The governor, when Similaye Fubara here was ushered out of the government house upon the declaration of state of emergency, he was ordered out like a commoner from the government house. When they withdraw when Mr. President gives order and your security details are withdrawn, you are vulnerable. And they forget that. So what you know is that he who blows the piper dictates the tune. When you're talking about mobilization is in the hands of the ruling party, who will give you the favorable ground. I don't know whether you are aware that 2022-2023 general elections, Nyesom Wike came up with what they call executive order in River State, where he said, you're not going to make use of the so government facility. If you want to make use, you have to apply. It even played out during the municipal council election in FCT.
Yeah.
He used the same strategy. Even during the convention of ADC, you had them cry foul. You understand? So these are what government in power can use in gagging and rendering whatever effort oppositions are doing irrelevant. So then when you talk about PDP issue, that's why the courts came in. Yes, Supreme Court has said that the internal affairs of a political party is their business. But not when Makinde, who is a seasoned politician, who has been mentored by Nyesom Wike, then the former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, said, let me buy expression of interest form. They said, no, you cannot. Who does that? It is him that if you are aggrieved as a member of a political party, You are not given your right as a member of the. You have the right to approach the court to do what? File for the fundamental, for what do you call it? Your fundamental human right to be respected. Because you are a card-carrying member of a political party, you have the right to vote and be voted for. That's what they taught us. Look at in River State, Tony Cole, who is not even a member of the Rainbow Coalition, has gone to purchase his form under APC. Did anybody stop him? If you know, I said it then to the Damagu and Bala Kum, what do you call him? Makinde. I said, allow this man to purchase his form. You already have the majority of the people who are going to vote on the day of Congress. Your own is to do your politics very well, do your internal party politics, meet the stakeholders, those who will vote on that very day, and make sure you outnumber the people that will vote for Lamido. And that is why they made the mistake. And when a court of competent jurisdiction told them to stop, they went ahead thinking that nothing will happen. But the pronouncement of court should be respected. That's why the fact that in Nigeria, the government in power do not respect the pronouncements of court. And they now joined the government. So where are you going to get a mobilization, Cassie, when your party is not healthy, when you're not positioned? It is when a political party is positioned, that's when you begin to mobilize. Even today, a lot of Nigerians are staying aloof. You know why? Peter Obi and the ADC and Atiku, they have not floated their presidential candidates. Politics have not started in Nigeria. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, everybody know APC have reserved exclusive right for him, as they did for Jonathan in PDP 2015. At the end of the day, what was the outcome? So Nigerians are waiting eagerly for Peter Obi or maybe Atiku will step down, or Amechi, we don't know where his own pendulum is. So we are waiting for the candidates. When we see them, even the international community, they're still waiting. When political parties emerge and bring their presidential, the politicking and the realignment and the alignment will begin properly. But now, what you're seeing is just those who are just carrying placards and making fanfare. But when they will go to Chatham House, and the United States of America and Russia and Israel, we know the particular candidate that will play politics with them, that we agree to sign MOUs with them. Nigeria is the market. China will be interested. Nigeria is the cash cow. This politics you're talking about is not determined by your vote and I. It's determined by a lot of factors that you don't know. That if we begin to explain it here, you will marvel. That other international powers determine who becomes Nigerian president. So for you to know that politics have not started, all those international communities are still watching. Let us see who comes up and whom we are going to negotiate with and who we are going to back going forward.
All right, thank you so much, Ugochukwu, for that analysis. That's it on State of the Matters. Many thanks, Ugochukwu. It's always a pleasure having you join us.
Cassie, it's always a pleasure to have you around, and your questions are always in-depth and brings a lot of in-depth analysis to the issues we discuss. So thank you, and happy Workers' Day to you.
Thank you, and I wish you the same too. To you, our amazing viewers, many thanks for watching. I am Cassie Tony, reminding you to stay informed and stay ahead towards 2027 general election. Don't forget to always join us next time for more breaking news across Nigeria. Do have a wonderful weekend.